Greetings from ManageEngine. So today we are going to discuss about the desktop central asset management and request you to please comment on chat whether you're able to hear my voice and view the presentation slides. I'll just wait for your confirmation to resume the training. So thank you. So we are on the third week of the training schedule, and you could see the list over here. And the previous trainings which happened earlier, so if you would have missed, no worries, you have an option to download those videos and you can get things known about it. And about me, I'm going to be your trainer for Desktop Central Asset Management. And here we go. We are entering into the week 3 of asset management. So this is going to be the agenda. So we are going to have a quick overview about how asset management works. And this webinar is designed based upon a problem and solution approach, having in mind with all kind of customers like moderate, advanced, and beginners. So to explain the features, I've taken 3 different scenarios, how this could be handled in a real-time situation in an enterprise network. Number 1 is going to be discussing about Microsoft Office 2016 deployment process and how to control the bandwidth spikes to understand what is exactly happening for this, and about to eliminate the non-standard applications. And third is going to be how to make use of Desktop Central in terms of upgrading to Windows 10, and followed by a few real-time scenarios and the scenarios and how this could be solved with the solutions. Finally, we are going to end up with the frequently asked questions from customer side. And during this process, so each and every module, I would recommend you to please raise your questions through chat. So we have an expert chat panel who would be addressing all your queries then and there during this time. So let's move on to the products. So Desktop Central is supported based upon these 3 different operating systems like Windows, Mac, and Linux. So we have a large customer base who contribute to the community by categorizing the applications as commercial during the deployment of softwares. So right now we have 13,000 plus commercial softwares, and we are just growing with applications supported by the Desktop Central. And here we go with a quick architecture. So let's quickly make a recap of the Desktop Central architecture. So Desktop Central is going to be a client and server model, as you know. So Desktop Central can be installed in local office as well as in remote office. And the agents are installed on all client computers. Installing the Desktop Central agent on client computers is a one-time job. Once installed, the upgrade process is automatically taken care of. And agents would be communicating the Desktop Central server periodically to pick up the tasks, as you could see here, with different kind of flavors of operating system. So it's recommended to have a distribution server when we are going on towards the remote office management. And you can see here we have a setup of distribution server. So this distribution server are installed on the remote office, which would help to replicate the software's patches and scripts to the remote office for the WAN agent access. And we also have a roaming users and a remote office without distribution server. If you are having less than 10 machines, you can go with the without distribution server. And we can also manage the roaming users, those who are going to be out of office connected from the internet. So this is a quick architecture, how we are going to work with the Desktop Central. Moving towards, so we have a set of ports. So these ports are recommended to be opened in your firewall of Desktop Central server. And each port has its own property and its type, and which will be given in the site. So now let's move on to the agent refresh policy. So the agent refresh policy is nothing but the communication between the agent to server. So Desktop Central Agent will be communicating the server for every 90 minutes, and this is called the refresh policy, which is highlighted on the top. This is to ensure that all computers in the network contact the server periodically, by which we can ensure two factors. Number one, the network is not getting choked by agent communication, so meaning that bandwidth is not disturbed due to the agent-server communication in the network. Number two, the performance of the server is not affected at any time. So server has an intelligence to ensure a systematic streamlined communication from all agents at regular interval. So to be more precise, let us have a quick example to understand it. So for example, let's take a 90 computers network. So in a 90 computers network, one computer will reach out the Desktop Central server per minute. Similarly, if it is going to be a 900 computers network, 10 computers will reach out the Desktop Central server per minute. And going forward, if it is going to be the large network of 9,000 machines network, 100 machines will reach out the Desktop Central server per minute. So here, this is to help you to understand it is not going to take much of your bandwidth. Fine. So let's move on to the Desktop Central Asset Management. So let's get into the engine room of the Desktop Central process. So we know about Desktop Central helps to collect all the data about the software and hardware. So let's see how this happens. So as soon as you install the Desktop Central agent, the very first time, it's going to perform a complete scan for the first time to collect all the hardware, software, and even the warranty information and post it back to the server. So this is a normal scanning process. And afterwards, you do have two different options to perform a scan. One is on-demand scan, so you can go select specific machine and run the scan. Number two is going to be a schedule scan. A schedule scan could make it happen selecting a day and date, so that's going to run a scan periodically. And during the scan, it's not going to run a scan again to take much of the time or much of the bandwidth. It's going to run a scan comparing to the old surface scan, which was already done, which is a complete scan. So it's going to have the difference between the previous history and the current history, recent past, and that is called the differential scan, and that information is going to be posted back to the server. Apart from that, we do have an intelligence scanning. So that auto intelligence scanning from agent is going to happen of any changes happens on the machine. So if a machine is installed with any new application or applications getting uninstalled or hardware is added remote, so this is going to get understood or observed by the agent, and that information is going to be posted to the server swiftly. So this is going to be the asset management in the background, how it exactly works. And similarly, the warranty, which I spoke to you. The warranty information is going to be posted for the very first time, and Desktop Central server will contact the respective vendor's warranty page to find the warranty detail of that machine by having the asset tag or service tag, and it gets the detail and publish it in the UI. So this is what happens in the background. Fine. So let's get into the managing Office 2016 licenses. So how we are going to manage Office 2016 license. So here I'm just going to explain in a kind of a scenario. So assume that I'm going to be an administrator of a company. I'm going to take you back to the product. Here we go with the product. So go to the product, you would be having the inventory. Just click on the inventory, you can see all the settings in the left pane, and the right pane will show the details of each setting. So now we are going to manage license. So I'm just going to the manage license. I'm going to add a license because I have been given a task like my users in a finance team requires for Microsoft Office 2016 application. So before I use this license for them, I just want to know how many licenses I have within my network and how many are used and where it is exactly installed. So these informations I can get with the help of Desktop Central Manage License, and for that I'm going to add the license. So this place is going to help you to show all the applications which you have installed on the network. So if we get all these details, with the help of the agent which was already installed. So remember, we were talking about the patch management property, how it works, the architecture. So it scans and posts all the information back to the server. So with the help of that information, we are able to furnish all the applications, whatever you have. So you can choose an application to add the license. And since I already have the Office 2016, I don't want to take much of time, so I'm just going to modify to show you how this will look like. So specify the details about the application, choose the owner details. We are requested to provide the number of license because we know how many licenses we purchased. So we are going to provide the license, and this is going to be on demand. Like I'm going to provide the license with my own consent. So how many licenses I purchased. So by which it will help us to find out where these machines, where these application is installed and which machine it is installed, and it gives the compliance status. Let's see that now. And we automatically provide a license name. This is going to be an internal tracking number, so do not make any changes. And even if you can go and provide to whom it has been licensed, and also request you to provide the purchase date and expiry date over here. The reason because with the help of this detail, we are also providing you a report which is going to be with a license renewal report. So by which you can easily understand which license has to be renewed or which is ready to go for the renewal process. And provide the license key if you want. And the files which has been sent from the vendor, you can add the files if it is a license file or invoice file. And if you want to have some comments, you can also provide the comments. Coming down, you can see all the machines, the managed computers. So you can add to the managed computers and you can save it. Or else, if you know to which machines these are installed, you can also go to the installed computer and you can see what are the installed computer and you can just move it across here. So this is for installed machine. And what happens if you haven't installed the application? So I'm showing this screen in order to help you to add the license for which the application is already installed in the network. What happens if you haven't installed the application but you want to add the license in advance? We can go follow the same procedure. You can provide all the details. However, if you know to which machine the license is applicable or you have decided to whom you want to install, you can come and you can select and you can move it across. You can just move it across. So those machines will be liable for this application. So once you install the application and start providing the details, so it will automatically show you the information in the desktop center. This is for the purpose of managing machine in advance. And if it is already installed, you can choose from the install computer and go ahead. So I'm just canceling this, just show you here. So here we go. So I have successfully added that, and by default, it shows all the details. And if you want, you can now go back and you can add more columns. Whatever columns you want, you can just add more columns. So this will show you all the details about the license. So the total license purchase was 25. It was installed in 25 machines, and the network installation and managed installation. So meaning that in overall machines, how many application is installed, it shows with network installation and managed installation, which means if I'm going to be an administrator, if I've been assigned with a certain limit of computers to manage in the domain, it will show only the managed machines for under my control. So since I'm the administrator, I can see all the machines. So that's why I'm able to see with 25 computers with managed as well as network installed. So it's in compliance. So we have the license status as in compliance. I'm just going to pause here just to let you know what is mean by in compliance. So the in compliance is nothing but if I purchase one license and if it is installed successfully to the same amount of machines, it's called in compliance. Like what you see here, I purchased 25 license and I have installed in 25 machine, which is going to be in compliance. And if I purchase 2 license, but I have installed only in 1 machine, it's going to be known as the over licensed, meaning that I still have 1 license, so I can make use of this license for my future requirements. So anything, if I need, I can just go ahead. If anybody raise a request to me, my first point of contact is manage license, by which I can understand whether I have the license with me or not. So this shows the over license as I'm still having 1 license to go with it. I can make use of it for any of the users. And underlicensed, we do have the third category called underlicensed. So I have purchased 2 license, but I have installed in 4 different machines, whereas I am just breaching the license rule. And this could happen sometimes, like when it comes for the software audit summary, I might get caught for this license and I have to pay more penalty for misusing the license. So in that condition, Desktop Central is going to rescue from the situation. It's simple. Since all the machine counts are going to be shown over here under the managed machine list, I'm just clicking on it. It takes me to the list of 4 machines where it has been installed. I don't want these 2 machines to be with application because it was by mistake it is installed. I can select, I can uninstall the application. So this application is going to get uninstalled on those 2 machines, and later the complaint status will be shown as 2 with in complaint. So I'm saved by getting into the hands of penalty. So by which we can differentiate these complaint status, and this really helps you to understand the license status in the network. Fine. So coming back to the Office 2016 deployment. So since I do not have any license in my hand, I need to raise a PO for the 2016 to go further to install for my 5 users who have been requested for the Microsoft Office 2016. So there is no other go. I need to go now for the new deployment. I'm sorry, for the new purchase. Since I'm with Desktop Central, I can make use of another feature by which I can get the exact usage of these applications. So I know this is installed on 25 machines. I just want to know whether these 25 installations are effectively used or not. So if they're not using it effectively, perhaps I can revert the license from the user. I can give it to the new users. So for this purpose, I don't need to go anywhere. I'm having a feature called software metering. So here we go. I'm just getting into the software metering. Software metering is a feature which helps us to let us know how effectively an application is being used in the network in terms of how many times it was used, how many users used, how long it was used. So that is going to be the details. So in order to collect all this information, now I need to create a rule for Microsoft Office so that I can get the complete details about the software metering. For that, I need to add a rule. I have to furnish all the details. Since I've already created a rule for Microsoft Office, I'm just going to edit and show you how this is going to reflect. So I've provided with the Microsoft Office Word monitoring. You can have any rule name. I'm providing the exact file name. I'm just giving the exact file name because in program files, there are more chances a user can go and change the file name. Instead of word.exe, the user can also rename it to 123.exe. So when we fetch that, we may not be able to get it. But Desktop Central will help you to go get the file properties. In the file properties, the file name as well as its details, its version, its original file name cannot be changed. So based on that, it is captured. And once I update it, this will update in the Desktop Central server, or it will save. For the very first time, if you're doing it, it will say save. So it will save in the Desktop Central server, and the Desktop Central server now has the new rule in it. So now the agents are going to communicate with the server. During the next contact of the agents will come to know a rule has been created in terms of Microsoft Office 2016, like it's a Word. Fine. It collects all the details, goes back and check about the usage of the Word. So wherever, in whichever machine the Microsoft Word is installed, it is going to run a check about the usage. And this information is not going to be posted then and there to Desktop Central server. The reason because we don't want to choke the network. We just want to collect all the information for the whole day. And the next day, you would be getting the report. How you get the report? Well, so Desktop Central agents are collecting all this information, and it will post the status back to the server by end of the day, like midnight 12 or 11:59 to 12. It's going to post the status to the server, and server is now going to get all the information. It manipulates and publish the report by next day, and the report is going to be like this. So you can see here. So we have 20 discovered machines, and again we have a column chooser. You can go and choose the columns, and after creating the rule, it's mandatory you please enable the rule. You want to enable the rule, it asks, yes, you should enable the rule. So the rule is enabled, then only it will start activated, because sometimes we may create this rule but we don't want to activate it, so that we don't want to check on each agent side. We can just leave it. But if you want to make use of this rule in order to collect all the information, please choose the enable rule. And now I'm just going back to the software metering, and I can see 20 counts, and I can see in how many machines it is used, how many times and how long, and when it was last used. You can get all the details. So if I go inside and click on it, here we go, I have 20 users details. So I'm just seeing all the details over here, and I could see there are some users, those who haven't used Microsoft Office, which is running in single digit. So I'm going to talk to the respective users department head. I'll revert this license from them. I'll make use of it for my newly requested persons, and by which I can achieve this license management without procuring new license. So this is an effective management in order to use the license within the network. By understanding or identifying which is not effectively used, we can just transform that license to the new users and we can make use of it. So this is how we can manage the licenses for Office 2016 and for any application more effectively. So this is an opportunity for us to go inside and get the details. Fine. Now, again, my HR has raised another request to me asking to install Microsoft Office for another 25 new user who has come into the network. So they've onboarded. I need to provide this installation of Office 2016. Obviously, I do not have. Even if I go back and check in the software metering, I don't have a good enough count. So this time, definitely I need to go for a new purchase. So if I'm going for the new purchase, understand that I'm going to use the same software version. I'm not going to do the different version. So I don't want to go back and add another new license for this. So I'm going to use the same license. I'm just using the option of action, add more. So by which I'm just going to add only the license, not the other information. I'm going to add another 25 users, and I'm selecting license date, and I'm just going to save. I do not know what new users are as of now because I don't have any idea. So I'm just simply saving it. That's it. So once I get the list, I can go ahead and install, and I can see here the license count is added for extra 25. The overall total purchase shows 50, and I'm having 25 licenses in my hand. So I'll just add it in advance. So if I want to go back and cross-check, so likewise you have added multiple times. You want to go and cross-check so when it was added, because it gives a flat information about the total count, but I want to have a split. I can just click on the Microsoft Office 2016 to see when it was initially added. So it was added by a couple of months before, and now I have added this one, so I can see. And even if I don't want, I can go and delete it. I can edit it. And this shows the complete history of the application, what you have chosen, including the version and how many licenses it has been purchased, network installation, all the things will be shown. And it will also show you the license associated machines as well. So in which machine this license is associated. So you get all the history about this. Well, so we are going to, again, you have an option of choosing the column chooser, and you can also export this. So in case if this requires a report module, you can export it as a PDF to send it across to the management. So likewise, we can add a license. Again, you might be thinking, okay, it's a hectic process to add all the license one by one. So no, not required. If you have all the information, definitely in an enterprise, everybody would be having the application name along with the license count in an Excel sheet. So make use of the Excel sheet by changing it to CSV or converting it to CSV. So we need this kind of a format. So this is a static format. Do not change this format. So provide all the details according in this format in an Excel sheet, save it as a CSV, and we can import it. And if you don't want to fill any other information, you can just use separated by commas, so it will get skipped. So this is a format, a sample format. So once I have the CSV file, I can just choose the file, I can browse, I can add it, and that will help me to add all the licenses in this place. So that's going to be the easy way of adding all the licenses. Well, So now moving forward to the grouping process. So we have multiple Office versions and we have multiple Adobe versions. So I don't want to keep adding all the Office versions or Adobe versions of any other application which comes with a different series of versions. I don't want to add it here. So we can group it in order to keep it very simple and eligible way. So coming over here, we have an option of add software group, specify a title name, and start adding the licenses. For example, I'm just searching for Adobe. It gives me all the Adobe series. So if I'm interested with Adobe Reader, I can even give the specific string of Reader and I can get the details. So likewise, I can add all the details and I can save it. For example, I'll just show you about this Adobe series, modifying it. So here we go. So this is how it looks like. So you can add everything and you can also select add the following versions of Adobe Acrobat automatically. You can just provide an asterisk so by which in future, if I'm coming with Adobe 16, 17 and going forward, whatever versions, if I'm adding it, everything will be added accordingly and the license management will be taken care of automatically. So you can get the details, and even if you want to see what versions you have, you can click on it and you can see the different versions of Adobe. So likewise, we have an option to group the software and manage it accordingly. So this is how we have an option to manage the license for Office 2016 and for any application. So in my category, so I have achieved deploying Office 2016 for 25 users and even for few users, and also I'm ready to go with the new users who are going to come inside my domain. So this is all about managing the license. And if you have any questions on this part, I would recommend you to please raise it to our expert panel and they will get back to you on this. Well, so let's move on to the next scenario of controlling the bandwidth spikes in non-standard applications. Fine. So this scenario, I just want to create another instance to make it very easy understanding. So we had a meeting, like I'm an administrator of a company, so we had a meeting with all our administrators, with security team and network team, and they have reported me like two concerns. Number one, a specific application is being used in the network which is the reason for bandwidth spike, and they have identified that application and reported me like Google Talk. So this application is being used in the network for multiple users, which is a reason for a bandwidth spike, which impacts in our business activities. So they have given me this information, and the second information they told about is there are some non-standard applications, an application which is installed in the machine but not shown in the add remove program, but it's still used in the network and they could see the traces of the application activities. So they have reported me about this application also, and they've also given the application names like it's a PSCP and some other applications. So it's my job now to go ahead, control or eliminate the non-standard applications as well as to bring under the smooth management of removing the unwanted applications which is making the spike, especially the Google Docs. So let me take you to the product to know how this could be achieved. So now I'm going to use a prohibited software inside the inventory. In the inventory, in the left pane, you can see prohibited software. If you click on the prohibited software, you can see all the details about the application. Fine. So this place is going to help us to understand what application we want to prohibit not to be used in the network. And since I've got the details about the Google Talk, I just want to quickly check, curious to know how many users or how many machines are installed with this Google Talk. So I'm going to use a report called, inside the inventory reports in the left pane, you can come to the software reports category, and I have a report called computers with or without specific software. I'm just going inside this report. And this report will help me to understand what kind of application is installed, if you want to identify whether it's installed, and what kind of application is not installed if you're planning to go for installing it before understanding in which machine it is not installed. We can make use of this. And this could be done for the whole domain or remote offices and even for a specific custom group which you have created. So I'm just taking to the filter of the whole domain. I'm going to use my browse, so it shows all the applications, and it's going to be a Google Talk. I'm just selecting the Google Talk. So here we go, that's the application, I'm selecting it. I'm just going to generate a report over here. My God, it's going to be 150, it's quite good numbers. So 150 machines are installed with the Google Talk, which they are using for their social interaction, which is a non-business activity, and that too on the business hours. So which ultimately impacts on the other routines. Well, so since we are inside this place, I just want to give you some more information about this report. So I've found this 150 machines are installed with the Google Talk. Let's take a new scenario now. I'm planning to install Google Talk. I want to know in how many machines it's installed and in how many machines it is not installed. Again, the same report helps me. I've just selected this option. It shows 150 machines. So now I want to know in which machine it is not installed. It's a very simple. Let's click generate a report. I can get the machine details. You can see here. So get the details of 44 machines are not installed with the Google Talk. I can quickly export this. I can create as a report. I can send across to the management, and similarly, I can make use of this count. I'll go back to the software deployment and I can install the application also. So that really helps me. Apart from that, I do not know the exact value of the application or the name of the application. I just want to give a quick search, which seems to be with Google. Okay, I want to quickly run. I know that some application from Google is installed, but I'm not sure what application it is. I want to run a quick check. Yes, I can check it. So any application in terms of Google, Google Talk or Google Earth or anything you have it, you can get those details. And anything you don't have a Google, for example, I want to get a quick information about which machines are not installed with any kind of a Google products. Yes, I can even run a report. I'll get the details. So this report helps us to understand about the machine which is installed with application or without installed with application. Fine. So let's go back again to the inventory. Fine. So we're talking about prohibited software. So since we have 150 machines, I'm just adding it over here. I'm just going and adding the application of Google Talk. I'll get the Google Talk. It will get added. So when I select and add it, it will get added, and it's added. So for the benefit of the time, I'm just showing it. It's already added. You can see here. So the Google Talk is added. So let's have a quick architecture level study about how it happens in the prohibited software. So we know that it helps us to remove it, but let's see how it happens. So I'm just taking you to the prohibited software workflow. So here we go. So we are first adding the prohibited software. It's getting configured. And once it's configured, on the next contact, agent is going to show all the details. Since the agent has the application installed, it's going to notify the users about the installed count. What are the machines installed in the application? So based on that, I can take actions against this process. I can automatically uninstall the software so that I don't have to intimate any of my users. I can forcefully uninstall an application without their knowledge and consent. Else, I can go ahead, I can intimate the user and I can uninstall it with the knowledge of the user, like not the knowledge, I can just show them like, hey, I'm going to uninstall this application since you're using this. So I'm just notifying him that I'm going to uninstall. And I can also provide the action for them to choose whether they want to use it or not use it. So if they are using it with the help of a justification, I can allow them user to access the application. So these three activities which I can make use of it. Now I'm taking you back to the product to show you how this reflects in the UI. So in the user interface, you can see the apps prohibited software which we have added. So I've just added over here. And you can see the installer types. We have categories based upon the installer types. You can see all the installer types over here. And these installer types, MSI and EXE. For MSI, if you notice, you'll be able to see not applicable. Not applicable. And if it is for EXE, it says not configured. So what does it mean about? Let me explain about this. According to the package, an application, since it's an MSI, the Microsoft Installer Package, this package is already bundled with all its associated files and silent switches. So it does not require a switch. It's a complete inside a nutshell. So when we are deploying it, it will not look for any associated files or silent switches. It will go ahead and install it, and that's how it has been built. But when it comes for a binary application like exe application, so exe application is an executable type which does not have a silent switches bundle. So when you're trying to install or uninstall any application, you need a user intervention in front of the machine. For example, if you're trying to install this application, you're going to double click on the setup file. It is going to open. It will ask you to accept the end user license agreement. You click next, select the location. By default, show C program. If you want, you can choose other location. Then click next, next, next until it completes the installation. Similarly, when you're trying to uninstall, you're going to go with the uninstaller, click uninstall, and it is going to uninstall. So this operation is good if you're doing it manually for your machine. But what happens if you're going to do this for a collective machines in the domain? We cannot expect the user to sit in front of the machine to take action against us. So for that reason, we have defined the silent switches. So the silent switches again will be provided from the vendor. If an application is being provided from Adobe, Adobe will provide the silent switches, and similarly the other vendors. So using the silent switches, we can configure it. You can see here. So we automatically can capture the location where the application is installed by using prefill method. If you know the silent switches, for example, the silent switch is going to be like QN, just for an instance, I can add and I can save it. If you say that, no, I know the location where the application is available, yes, you can just go ahead. You can type in that location manually, and you can also add the silent switch. That's up to your choice. So since we have Google Talk identified as an exe, I've already provided the silent switches using this option, and I have selected. Now, I'm going to uninstall it. I'm just going for the auto uninstallation procedure. I've chosen 5 as a minimum value. The reason, this will uninstall the application on the subsequent startup. On the next startup of the machine, this application will get uninstalled. We recommend to have it 5 because if you have multiple prohibited softwares added in the prohibited software console and you have selected this enable automatic uninstallation, think that if a machine is holding more than 5, during the boot process will not conclude because in the background we'll start uninstalling this application. So it may take much time to boot the machine and come up with the windows. So the user may get panic by seeing the situation, and that could make unnecessary chaos. So to avoid that, it's always recommended to go with 5 or below that. So periodically, anyhow, the machine is going to get rebooted later on or frequently, so by which it is going to get uninstalled then and there. Fine. So I have just chosen this option and I'm saving it, so the application will get uninstalled for the next time. Fine, it's done. So now all of my Google Talk is completely removed from the network. I'm getting more requests from my manager's team saying that, hey, the Google Talk is uninstalled in our machines. What happened? So I just explained the reason, and they told that, no, just allow for the group of people. So I've just created a custom group using Desktop Central. I've just selected. I can go with the domain and choose a specific machine, or I can choose a custom groups, whatever I created, and you can see here I've just added my managers and I've saved it. So since then, any application which I'm adding in the prohibited software, the manager groups will not fall under this criteria because I have added them to the global exclusion so that they can install any application since they are the manager's group. Well, now I have installed and everything is going good. Now I got another request from a sales team saying that, hey, even in our machines, the Google Talk has been uninstalled. So we want to interact with the customers using this social application for the business purpose. So we want to use it. So I'm just going and configuring them using this option and selecting it. Sales team, I've created a separate group for them, added all the machines, I've added, that's it. So henceforth, they can use this Google Talk application, but not of my other users. Well, now going to the auto uninstall policy, I also want to notify my users, those who are using these prohibited software. So I'm just providing this information, selecting a threshold of 3 days, and I'm just saving it. So what happens is when the user is logging in, the user will be getting a prompt. So let me quickly show you how the prompt looks like. So here we go. So this is the prompt which the user gets, and we'll be provided with the application name. So this is the information you can see which I have typed in. Sorry. So you can see about the details, and this place the user can provide their justification and they can send the request. So once they send the request, I'll be having all the requests available over here. So in this place, I can go ahead, I can just click on this option, it will show the application name. I can approve them and click OK, it will be approved. If I say deny, it will get denied. So I can quickly check with the respective users, reporting person, I'll get the details. If they say yes, allow the application to run on the machine, I can approve, else I can deny. So by which I can even achieve those kind of activities. In case if the prompt has been ignored by the users, other users, then on their machines the application will get auto uninstalled after 3 days. So this is a normal procedure. Fine. So these are the things which is available for prohibiting the application. And you can quickly go and get what are the machines which was uninstalled. You can go and see what are the machines where we have the prohibited softwares, and you can see the user request, and you can get the audit history, everything in this place in order to get things. And again, to emphasize here, this place will help you only to uninstall the application. If the same application is again reinstalled by the user, it will get allowed, but still it will get uninstalled on the next subsequent operation time. So by which I have succeeded by adding the Google Talk to the prohibited list, and I have managed the situation now. Fine. My second request which is pending is going to be the non-standard application. So how am I going to address that? So I'm going to use a block executable here. So the block executable is going to help me to add an application which is going to be non-standard. So the application may not be found in the add remove program. If so, I can uninstall using software deployment or add it to the prohibited software. I can uninstall it. But this application I cannot see anywhere because it is installed in the directories, any of the folders, and when they double click it, it's going to run from there. So in such conditions, I need to get the details. I'm going to use this prohibited in the block executable, which is an extended version of prohibited software. So it allows me to first choose the custom group. So which group I want to select. For example, I can choose a finance team. I can go here. I can select an application. For example, I am selecting an application called pscp.exe. So when I select add, so since I already added, so it's added now. So now if any of the users, so once I add this information, it's going to be added only on the server. So agent may not know what is happening in the server. Again, on the next contact, agent is going to hand over this task to the server. So agents will pick up these tasks from the server, go back, and they'll wait for the chance of having this application. In case if the application is identified, it's going to take care by the prohibited software. In case if the application is again trying to launch by the user, it will get blocked. It cannot be installed. So the agent is going to block the installable of that specific exe. Fine. So what happens if the user is going to be more techie, a skill guy who knows, okay, changing the application name can help him to install it. So for that kind of a person, we need to be more proactive and having it in the hash value. So the hash value I can fill up all the details, and here I'm even going and choosing the application like this. So when I choose the application, it's going to calculate its file signature value, which is nothing but the MD5 hashtags. So it's going to choose the hash value and add it, and based on that, it will show the list. For example, I'm just adding it. And if I just add it, it will be added. So you can see here. So it's added with the version. So even if the user is trying to change the value, like rename the file, still they cannot go and install it. So by which we can achieve by stopping or blocking the launch of an application. So by which I have concluded with 2 of my requests. And if you have any questions on this prohibited and block executable, please raise your request to chat. So well, let's move on to the next module of planning Windows 10 upgrade. Well, so planning of Windows 10 upgrade, it's not a simple task because I need to first know how to upgrade the Windows 10 machine. So what are the machines which are qualified for the upgrade? So in this condition, I'm just going to use my reports. So here we have a lot of reports. You can just go through the lot of reports. These reports are predefined reports, which you can see here. You can see all the reports about the computer by OS, so I can even go get the information about the computer by operating systems. So I can see that, okay, how many machines are with this operating system. Similarly, I can get all these reports over here. These are all the predefined reports which you can run. And remember, well, adding the license, I was talking about the license date, the purchase and expiry date. So that will help us to get this report. So when you click on this license to be renewed, you can see this report in a quick summary, and you can also get it in the detail view, and you can select what are the licenses which is going to get expired in these days. And this report, you can export it to the PDF CSV XLS for your audit purpose, and this report can also be added to your scheduled reports in order to receive it periodically to your inbox without coming and pulling it then and there. So I'm just taking you to the reports where we have a lot of reports like we discussed. And using this report, I'm just going to use a custom report because since we have a Windows 10 upgrade, I want to look for certain qualification. Just qualify the machines which is applicable for Windows 10. I need to look for it. So likewise, I'm using the custom report. So you have a lot of reports here, the reports which you can add, and similarly the schedule report which I was talking, where you can add your licenses. So here we go. For the inventory, if I'm choosing the inventory, you can see all the reports, and you can also select the license to be renewed. And these reports are not only reports just like that you get it for all the machines, you can also customize it. You can customize it by going down here to the expiry date. So if you're looking for expiry date is before, or you can select this week, anything which is going to happen this week, you want to get a report, yes, you can get a report. Similarly, you have a lot of reports over here which could be customized. So for example, operating system. So you want to select the operating system in the branch office. Yes, I want to get this report from my remote office. I can get it. And again, I don't want this to get it from specific operating system. Yes, I can also get it from specific operating system of Windows 7. I can get it. So likewise, I can choose all these reports. I can specify to whom this provide a report name and its description. Coming down, I can choose in which format I need to get this report. And then I can choose how this has to be sent. So if it is a simple one report or two reports, I can make use of an attachment. And even it is going to be sent through an attachment, I need to select what kind of attachment type, like size is allowed in my network. So in my network, it's only 5 MB of attachment scans allowed. So I can choose this 5 MB. So if I'm going to choose more reports on inventory, I'm just going to get some kind of reports from my AD. So we also have AD reports. So if I'm selecting some AD reports in the list and some domain reports in the list, so it's going to be consuming much more than the 5 MB if it is sent as an attachment. So I can select a compression option to go with it. So what happens if I'm going to use even the patch reports? So I want all these patch reports to be selected. Yes. So if I'm going to choose all kind of reports, it's going to be more bulky and it will certainly exceed the size even if it is going to be compressed. So in such condition, I'm going to use this URL method. And this URL method would be sending a URL to me through email, and I can provide how this has to be sent, to whom it has to be sent, and I'll get that through email. When I click on the link, it will ask for the credential of Desktop Central. Once I provide it, all the reports are going to get downloaded in the specified format. And going forward, I can also schedule it when I want to get this report. So I can just get this report by 8 o'clock in the morning. So I don't need to do anything. So once I'm back in office after my weekend, I can see all the reports in my inbox. So this is about the reporting of scheduled report. Fine. But coming back to our requirement. So our requirement is to qualify the machines which is eligible for the Windows 10. So I'm just going to use a new custom report. In this custom report, I can pull any kind of a report of my own choice, which is based on the machine, its hardware or software. So anything deals with the machine name or its domain, IP address, we can select a report by choosing the columns and criteria. If it is going to be a hardware component, like processor details, memory information, MAC information, or the printer information, so anything which deals with some sort of hardware, I can go ahead and select the report from here. And anything deals with the software, the name of the software, the version, I can go and get it from here. So this is a report. Fine. So since we already created a report, I just don't want to take time to create one new. I've already created, and which is called the Windows 10 upgrade. So I'm just going down here, modifying it just to show you how I've created. So here we go. So my qualifying criteria is the machine needs to be at least 4 gigs of RAM. It should be more than 4 gigs of RAM in order to process the Windows 10 operating system activities. And the drive should be more than 100 gigs so that it should not face a fallback during the installation process. And the expiry date. So I need at least a machine exist more than a year, at least 6 months and above, so that I can make use of this Windows 10 to an extreme. And I can make use of this. So these are the 3 different criteria. Based on the criteria, I've selected my requirement columns. So the columns can be chosen here, and we can also rearrange the columns using it. And I'm just going to run the report. So here we go. Well, I got a report of these many machines are eligible to go get the Windows 10 upgrade. Fine. I got the report, but I do not know to which department these machines are available. So I don't have a report on it. To which department? Because a department, which is nothing but in my company, the departments are based upon the OU. So in order to get that report, I need to go back to the reports. I can get the predefined AD report, but that report is not going to help me. I can get an OU report, but that gives me only the machine name, but not the machine which is looking for these criteria to install Windows 10. Well, no panic. I can use a query report. So a query report is nothing but we can construct a SQL query using the DB tables, and we can run the report, and we have provided us tips for the users to go ahead and try by themselves. So this query report is also called as a tailor-made report by which we can use by ourselves with our own taste and mood. We can use this report for our own convenience. If none of the reports in the reporting model, like the predefined reports or the scheduled reports or the custom reports are providing us, we can achieve using the query report by constructing the SQL language. If you want our assistance to construct a SQL query, you can raise a request to the query and fill in all the details which is requested. We would be able to check for the feasibility and get back to you with a report. Fine. So now my intention is to run a query report for understanding the departments as well as the machines, because I know the department, I know the machine name in 2 different reports, but I want to collate 2 reports together. So I'm just using a query report. I'm just showing it here how it is. So here we go. I just construct the query based on this, and I'm just running a report. And here we go, the same machines details I'm having along with my department was. So I'm just going to present this to my management to get an approval or go further on the upgrade process. So this is all about of managing, like how to upgrade Windows 10 and its planning. So by which we have concluded the scenarios which we have discussed, the use cases. So if you have any questions on this, do please post it. And we are entering into the scenarios and solutions. So let's quickly take a look. I want to proactively resolve hard disk spaces issues before the user reports them. Is this possible? Yes, of course. So when I'm going to get a detail about the hard drives, how it is consumed, so it should not run out of the space. For that, I can go achieve using the inventory reports itself. So we have an inventory reports, computer with disk usage. You can get the disk usage status over here. You can add some more columns. We have even given you the use space and free space, so by which you can easily understand and get the report exporting it. Or else you can also use a summary view, and we have both detail view also, in which you can even see the volumes in the disk with its appropriate capacity in terms of percentage it's provided. If you want to get something configured by you, yes, you can also provide the disk criteria usage, and you can get the report and achieve it. I want to add additional information about my computers to the asset data. Is this possible? Certainly it's possible, because as we already discussed, in the inventory, all the information are captured from the agent. But if you want to know about some information to be added manually, yes, you can see here there is a pen icon which you can edit. Just click on that option. Like for example, I'm just providing here. I can provide the computer location, in which location it is. So it's going to be in the 3rd floor, west wing, and desk 40. So I can provide the search tag if it is going to be an internal tracking number from a company and email address. And if it's an HP machine, I can even provide the product number and give a notes and add it. Yes, it's going to show me the details, and you can see here the details are there. So yes, you can do this, add it manually. A custom field could be added manually. And even if you want to add all the machines, because it's going to be time consumption for adding manually one by one, no worries. Again, we provide you the import options with a format. So choose the format accordingly, add everything in Excel sheet, convert it to CSV and import it. You get everything in a one single view. Fine. So we have the policy to replace the computers older than 5 years. How do I get the list of those computers? So I'm planning to decommission machines which are running in my network more than 5 years. I want to know how this could be done. Yes. So again, we are going inside the inventory reports. So in the inventory reports, we have computers by age. And this gives me a clear view about what are the machines which are running with the year based. And this information is captured with the help of a BIOS in a machine. So you can see the BIOS information. So by which I can get the details. I can find how many machines which is running before 5 years, which means it's going to be of 2011 old. So I can get all the machine details, export it. I can give it to my inventory team to handle. Shared directory with write access is a security threat. Can we identify them? Sure, definitely. You might have created some shares. Frequently, you might have created some shares on whole of the domain, but you do not know which permission you have provided. If you want to have a quick check coming inside, please come to the reports. Again, we are going to access the same inventory reports, which gives us the detail about the shared details. So I'm selecting the reports. You can see the shared details, in which we can see what kind of shares to which machine it has been provided and what is its permission level. So you can see it's a read-write full control, so it seems to be more vulnerable. You can export, you can get a report, and you can take action. Dropbox is installed at the user level and would like to get the list of computers that have it installed. How do I identify it? So meaning here, a user-based application is going to be installed by the user. It will be listed only in the user's profile, meaning that if I log in as an administrator, I cannot find that application because it's a user-based application. Only if the specific user logs in, the user can see that application listed in add remove program. So these kind of activities cannot be managed in any of the scenarios. So we are going to use the same report of inventory reports in which we have a user-based specific application installed report. So I'm just taking you to the inventory reports. Under the software report, you have a user-specific software. Since we have agent installed, agent has an capability to collect all the information in a machine, and it will show even the view as well as the detailed view to understand so by which user it was installed, in which domain it is available, and what is the application. So we can get the details. I want to identify the computers with local administrator accounts. Is this possible? Yes. We could get the local administrator's account by going inside the same inventory reports. We can see what kind of permission has been provided for them. So I just go down to the inventory. I can see the system group users, by which going inside I can see to which group what account permission has been given for the computer. I want to see a list of Mac-based applications in the network and the details of such computers. So I want to look for the Mac-based, because so far we have discussed about the Windows. So I want to look for the Mac and the other operating system like Linux in the network. Yes. We can go to the inventory. As we go to the inventory, on the screen you'll be able to see the details about all. So we have for Ubuntu, on Red Hat, and Mac OS. So just selecting that link will show how many Mac machines you manage and the Mac details as well. I want to run an internal audit in our company to identify computers which has movies, music files. How can I get this done? So I want to quickly understand what kind of non-corporate data has been used in the network by the user, so which ultimately consumes much of the disk space and impacts the business activity. When we are trying to install an application, it cannot install due to the space constraint. So I want to check about that. I'm going back to the inventory, and we have an option of schedule scan. In the schedule scan, we also provide you a file scan option. So choose this option to schedule it how frequently you want to run. Once it's done, when you come to the computers, you'd be seeing all the machine details here. For example, I'm just selecting this machine, and if I go select this machine, I can get complete insight of the machine, like what is this machine all about, how many hardware software installed, and the manufacturer detail. And remember, I was talking about the warranty information, so we automatically fetch this information. And similarly, you can also get all the system, the hardware machine, like hardware components installed, softwares installed the machine, and here we go with the file details. So I can quickly get the details about how many files the user is having in this place. And similarly, we can also get the security report about the machine's BitLocker status of the hard drive, whether it's encrypted or not. I can even get the antivirus status, whether my antivirus is out of date or not, so I can take action, the firewall status, as well as the patches which are found in missing. And we do get the USB audit report and the history of the machine report. Is there a way to identify the various sizes of monitors like desktops available in network? Yes, of course. We can do that again by going down to the inventory reports. In the reports, we have a custom reports. So we can choose the custom report, and in which we have already created the report. So I've just created a report. You can see here, I just created a report for monitor hardware type. So running the report will help me to show what is the size of the monitor. And I can edit, I can make use it, I can also export it for my requirement. So we're end of these scenarios and solutions. Now we are moving on to the frequently asked questions here. So do we need to install both Asset Explorer agent and Desktop Central agent in all systems? We are having Service Desk Plus with System Tool plugin. Well, so if a customer is having both Desktop Central and Service Desk Plus, the agent, it's not required to install the Service Desk Plus agent. Desktop Central agent alone is enough to handle the situation, because the requirement or the purpose of installing the Service Desk Plus agent is to collect the inventory, and that has already been taken care of by Desktop Central. So we don't need the Service Desk Plus agent, because Desktop Central agent has more robust scanning performance compared to the Service Desk Plus. It can run a scan by auto intelligence, understanding the changes in the machine, which is not available in the Service Desk Plus. So it's better you can keep Desktop Central agent only. Question number 2, when you add a program to the prohibited software, it lists, does it take all the version of the software into account, or do I need to update the prohibited software list every time a new version is released? Yes, of course. If every time a new version comes, you need to add it, because you may be having some requirement of you don't want to prohibit an application with a specific version. For example, Adobe 5 or 10, say that Adobe 10. I want to prohibit Adobe 10 version. So I can just simply add the Adobe 10 versions. And I don't want to prohibit Adobe 12 because it needs to be used. Yes, I can do that. So this will give a clarity for you to understand what kind of application you want to block and not block. You can see here, we have different versions of the same application. So we have blocked only these applications. So if I'm going to block Adobe Air, all of my Adobe Air, if it is getting blocked, for example, if I'm having this system to block all the application, that will not solve your purpose. So you may not be able to install Adobe Air at all. So it's based on the version. Fine. Question number 3, the software that you want to prohibit is not already on your network. How can I block it using Desktop Central? So we have already seen a real-time scenario of adding it in the block executable. So we can go ahead and make use of the block executable to address this question. What data is used to determine that the computer's warranty has expired? So I want to know how to identify a machine has expired. So we have a predefined report over here in the inventory, which is going to be warranty, expired warranty. So you can go to this report. This report will help you to understand what machines are completely expired in this place, and this could be done with a different department and the domain. So these are all expired. And similarly, if you want to get some more report in unmanaged computers or soon to expire warranty, like you want to know what machines are going to get soon to expire in the network, yes, you can go and get the report based upon your choice, like this. And you also have a report of unmanaged machines. So in case if a machine is not identified in the domain, like it's not a branded machine, it is an assembled machine, yes, we can get it. And even if it is not managed in Desktop Central, but it's available in AD, yes, we can get the report using the unmanaged computers report. So you can get all the reports. Fine. So question number 5, on the inventory report of computers without specific software, how to specify filter criteria and schedule them. Okay, so you're talking about inventory reports of computers with or without specific software. So if you want to customize it, yes, we can go ahead and customize using the schedule report, in which I can choose the inventory reports with computer with or without specific software, and I can use this option over here by selecting the columns and criteria, and I can specify that. Does desktop Central 9 detect what software is installed on each machine and detect if it is in license? Does desktop Central have the ability to detect what the product key for each software license? So we're having two questions here. So does desktop Central 9 detect what software is installed on each machine and detect if it is licensed? Yes, of course. So once you install the application and the agent is added, so that's going to identify what application it is installed on the machine, and it will also check if it is licensed. So when you add the license, manage license, the application is added to the managed license. Yes, even that is also added. You can easily get those details. And the question number 2 inside here is, does desktop Central have the ability to detect what product key for each software license? Yes, we have a separate report over here in which we can go ahead and we can get the report of software keys. Under the reports, we have the inventory reports. So inside the inventory reports, you can see software product keys, for which you can get the product key details over here. You can see here. Well, coming to the end of the question here, how are Office 365 licenses managed since they are cloud-based? So normally our license management is based upon getting the license details from the registry. And since then, it's from 2013, Microsoft has started having the license in their key management server. So it's going to be the license management server. So it is going to be completely cloud-based, and we are looking for more number of requests, so by which we can go ahead, we can check for the feasibility, and we can support that scenario. And we would recommend you to please use the below link in order to raise it as a feature request, so by which we can start our process to address it. So thank you very much for the training, and here we go with the rating to just feed us back what we had provided in the training. So you can feed me with the results about how it was, and the scaling is based upon, as you see here, 1 to 5, where the 5 is going to be the best. So we look forward for your ratings to improvise the things. And we also request you to please provide the hashtag for Desktop Central ManageEngine onto your social media by spreading a word. And a quick heads up about the next schedule of training, which is going to happen by next Wednesday of October 25th on the given timing for different countries. You can make use of this. I would recommend you to please stay tuned to get in touch with us during this time to receive all the insight about the remote control features and functionalities. And once again, I thank you for your cooperation and active participation, and trust this training was really helpful for you to understand about the features which is available in Desktop Central Inventory and the inventory management architecture. So please go ahead, play with the tool, and get back to us in case if you have any questions. We are here to help and glad to do that. And thanks again for your active participation.